From the schools you go to the health care you have access to the food that ends up in your stores, to the signs that are on our roads. Our local, state, and federal government have an immense role in how we live our lives. Oftentimes, these systems and institutions feel so far away and hard to change. But the reality of the matter is that you have more power and influence than you might realize to make change and take action. The lingering question that still exists is, how do you get involved? So, let's get into it. The first question we have to tackle is, what is civic engagement? Well, the most straightforward answer I could give you is getting involved to improve the civic life of one's community. But then that leads to the question, what is a civic life? Civic life refers to the public community, which means that civic engagement refers to everything from community service with local organizations to voting in elections or volunteering on a campaign, or working within the world of government and policy to make influence on an issue that you care about. I cannot stress to you how important civic engagement is, because at its core, it's working for the betterment of one's community. Civic engagement is a vital part of democracy, because it's the way we make sure that everybody's voices are not just heard, but amplified. And so if we want to create a society where everyone has access to those types of opportunities, we need you to get involved in civic engagement. Stay involved in local politics. Oftentimes in the news or on TV, we'll hear about what's happening in our national or federal government, which refers to things like the president, the Supreme Court, or Congress. But what we don't hear about as much is what's happening in our state or in our local government. Every state has its own legislature, which is a body that makes laws and policies for your state. You also have things like city councils and county board of supervisors, as well as a lot of different other types of bodies like the school board. And these entities make so many decisions that impact you directly. What you really need to understand is that these local bodies have more of an impact on you than any other body, which is why you need to get involved. Did you know that you can sit in on city council or county board meetings? All you have to do is look up the information on their website and you'll be able to find it right there. Make sure that you stay in the loop. Understand what policies they're trying to pass and make your voices heard on them. Call their offices. Make sure they hear from you because they want to hear from you. If you have ideas, concerns, or questions, make sure you reach out because then you will be able to use your civic voice. Get involved in elections. So this can mean a lot of different things. When you have elections happening near you, whether it be for a school board or Congress, make sure that you do your research on the candidates, because an amazing opportunity to get involved in this type of work is to volunteer or apply for an internship on a campaign. Oftentimes, for any election, these candidates will be looking for volunteers to help them get the word out about their campaign. So if you've done your research and feel very passionate about what a candidate stands for, you can get directly involved in making sure that that candidate can get their voice out there, get their message out there. Also remember that once you're legally able to, you have to vote. Voting is an amazing, incredible, and extremely impactful way to make your voice heard, because you get to decide who it is that represents you and makes the policies that impact you. Make sure that you do your research on who's involved. And if you want to get involved even more, you can start helping with voter registration. Make sure that your family, your friends, your community also know how they can register to vote and make their civic voice heard. One final thing I'll say on the topic of elections is just make sure you know who the players are. Whether it's the candidates or whether it's the people that you're going to be reaching out to volunteer on a campaign, make sure you've done your research and you know who it is that you're going to be involving yourself with. Whatever you do, make sure that you do it passionately as you make your voice heard and as you help other candidates make their voices heard. And who knows, one day you might be the one running in an election too. Get involved in issues you care about. Passionate about the environment, passionate about the well-being of animals, passionate about healthcare or education or access to arts education. Whatever it is, you can get involved in these issues. Similar to what we talked about last episode, make sure that you're reaching out to local community organizations to see if there are ways that you can help or get involved. There are organizations and initiatives that exist at the local, state, and national levels. So try to find some of them and see what you might be able to do to get involved. Also remember that if you haven't seen an initiative for something that you care deeply about, you can grab a bunch of friends, you can ask the adults in your life and start an initiative. Don't shy away from that either. Just know that getting involved in local issues is one of the most impactful things that you can do. Because in this sense, you're also combining it with something that you are passionate about. And so maybe you'll be advocating for policies, or maybe you'll be organizing community initiatives. But whatever it is, that impact is huge. At the end of the day, getting involved in those issues where you really wish to see meaningful, impactful, sustainable, and effective change is the core of what civic engagement is. Think about it this way. To be a civically minded person means to recognize that you are part of a larger society in which social problems are also your own. To get involved in civic engagement is to get involved in addressing the biggest issues that affect the public, but more importantly, that affect your community. So, I need you to remember how important your voice is. Maybe you're going to take all of this information and go register people to vote. Maybe you're going to take this information and volunteer to make calls for a campaign. Maybe you're going to get involved in a community initiative to address a local problem. In any situation, you need to know that you can be a catalyst for change in a huge way. Become part of the conversation. Become part of the change. We need your voice and we need your ideas. As always, remember, you are powerful. You are never too young to lead, and you can and will change the world.